to the Super Hornet podcast. Welcome back. It's been a little while since I've been on here. Life's been busy, but just got a lot less busy. So I'm gonna try to do this podcast once a week from now on. It is Tuesday, January 21st. Um, and yeah, let's just get into it. Talk about the Hornets. Currently on a 3-game winning streak. Won 4 of the last 5. We got some good news, got some bad news, got some trade news. New guys on the roster. I apologize, I'm a little sick right now, but new guys on the roster. Uh, it's been an interesting little bit of time. Let's just get the bad news out of the way first. Brandon Miller has a torn ligament in his hand. He's gonna be out for the remainder of the season. Probably gonna need surgery. Good news is that the people who've had the injuries in the past, whether it's Bradley Beal or Jaylen Brown, they end up recovering, and they both had great careers since they've been injured. But he will be more likely miss the rest of the season, and that's a bummer because him and LaMelo and this that core 4 group of guys were really getting to play together and getting chemistry, and they were looking like the offense was looking good. They all scored 40. They all scored 20 points against the Jazz. Yeah, the Jazz, and like they all looked great. And here we are. Now we're gonna miss Brandon Miller the rest of the year, and it's a bummer. But yeah, that's all you can say. This is a bummer. Replacing him in the starting lineup though has been Nick Smith Jr., who has had 2 back-to-back great games. He scored 15 his first start against the Bulls, and then last night against yesterday afternoon against the Mavericks, he went for 19. Shooting the ball well. Feels like he's filling into that offense well. This is the Nick Smith Jr. we were hoping to see. He went up to Greensboro and was torching up there. Playing against G League competition when you are an NBA talent. Sometimes you just take the easy stuff and you look better than you really are. But he's played his game up there. It looks like got his shot down. He was shooting poorly at the start of the year, but he looks like he's doing well now, and I'm excited to see him for the remainder of the year. I like to think that he feels undersized when you watch him play, but he's 6'5". Maybe the backcourt of the future for the bench could be a LaMelo, not LaMelo, a Trey Man and a Nick Smith Jr. That being your 1 and your 2. You got to Trey Man that is kind of a ball dominant, scoring guard, and he doesn't really pass. He passes well, but he isn't a facilitator, and neither is Nick Smith Jr. But hopefully they can develop together and kind of both be facilitators, especially off that bench. That could be an elite scoring bench for the future. And I'm excited to see it. Wouldn't mind having both your bench guards average like a combined like 20, 24, 25 points a game, maybe even more than that. That's how you win basketball games, and yeah, especially because to be real, our bench has been terrible. They played well yesterday, but they have been terrible. Like I said, against Utah, the core 4 guys all scored 20 points each, like over 20 points, and the bench scored 15. They won the game, but the whole entire bench scored 15 points. You can't do that and sustain winning basketball. Sorry. Trey Mann and Grant Williams are both missed right now, and you can feel it. I want to say we started off the year 6-9 before they got hurt, both of them, and we won 4 of our last 5. So before that little stretch there, we were 6-9 and we ended up 7-27. So we had won 1 game and lost 18. So you feel that bench production being out. Plus, you didn't have LaMelo for some of those games, didn't have Brandon Miller for some of those games, didn't have Miles Bridges for some of those games, didn't have Mark Williams for most of those games. But here we are. We got everybody healthy other than those bench guys and Brandon Miller now. But you feel, especially LaMelo and Mark Williams, really getting us feel for. Mark Williams has been playing great. Gave up a lot. He's given up, what is it, 70 something points, 71 points the last two games to the centers. I think Vucevic had 40 and Gafford had 31. So that's not really what you want to see from your center. But he's more of a Mark Williams is more of like a not like a bruiser center, but like a make you hesitate at the rim kind of center. These Gafford and Vucevic are both big, burly centers who are really strong, and that's why I think they really cooked Mark Williams. Hopefully, he can get a little stronger. You know, it is only like his second year in the league. Basically, he did with how like much time he missed. It's his third season, but he didn't play until the trade deadline his rookie year. Was out most of last year. Was out half of this year. I mean, I don't think he's played a full season of games in his career at this point, like a full 82, like total. So, you know, he'll get better. And you see the flashes. I mean, the last few games, he's gotten, 13 boards, 19 boards, 13 boards, 16 boards, 12 boards. I mean, he's looked solid. He's good. He's going to be okay. He's the center of the future, potentially, hopefully. And like LaMelo, his shot hasn't been falling, but he's been getting to the line. He's been driving the ball a lot more. You've seen on this winning stretch, LaMelo Ball has been aggressive at the rim, which is what we've been asking him to do. And he's doing it, and he looks great because he shot okay last night from three, percentage wise, but he's been able to score without necessarily hitting the three ball every game, which is that's what you need. You need to be elite. You need to draw fouls. You need to get the easy stuff. And he's helped. He's contributing to winning basketball more than you can ask. And it's good. I'm very excited for this. For what we got going on. Other news. The Hornets have made a trade. They traded Nick Richards and a 2025 Denver second round pick for Josh Okogie and 3 seconds, 2 from Denver and one from Phoenix. Nick Richards has looked great the last couple of games in Phoenix. Their center core was terrible, and now they have an old Hornets center core and Nick Richards and Mason Plumlee. I'm happy to see him, thrive there. He was always going to be a backup here, and the Hornets could only offer him I think it's 1.5 times his current salary before he hit the open market. And if he hit the open market, he was gonna go somewhere else to get a starting job or get paid. And he was gonna be paid way more than he was worth for the Hornets. So I'm okay with them going to get collect their second round picks like they have been doing, and hopefully we'll see a those picks turn into something, and we'll see. There's rumors. Kevin O'Connor, his podcast, had I think it was Mark Stein on it. I'll double check real fast. But I'm gonna find the source now, but I'll say the trade. We flip Josh Okogie again, who just made his debut and looked decent. He looked decent against the Mavericks. He played good defense, but we would flip him in 2 seconds for Isaac Okoro. It was Bobby Marks, not Mark Stein. Bobby Marks, who came up with a trade on Kevin O'Connor's podcast. Hornets send Josh Okogie a Philly second round pick and a clip for this year, and a Clippers second round pick in 2028 for Isaac Okoro. He makes $10.1 million, while Josh Okogie makes $8.2. The Cavs are apparently like $1 something million over the cap, $1.9 million over the cap. Whether they are $1 something million over the cap, that would shed $1.9 million off of their books, get them under the salary cap, which would be help them, especially with extensions coming up. It would open up the doors for them to do some stuff in the future. And the Hornets would get a good young player who kind of fills that Cody Martin role. I feel like this is, I don't know if it's just me, I feel like Cody Martin is gone. He's going to get traded. You saw yesterday, if you watched the game, Cody Martin's a lot of his minutes were ate up by Josh Okogie, who just joined the team. This is his first game, and he was taking up a lot of his minutes. And he was the point of attack defender. He was the one typically guarding Kyrie Irving. He was the one who was going after the guys who were scoring the buckets. And I think that was something that Cody Martin did. So they're saying that he's doing that better than Cody Martin already, and he hadn't played much in Phoenix, but he shot the ball okay yesterday. It was his first game playing in a while, and I'll give him a little bit of the benefit of the doubt there. But like Cody Martin hasn't shot that well this year. I just feel like the Hornets are trying to shuffle up this roster, and I think Isaac Okoro is like a better Josh Okogie, and he's younger. He's a little taller, Josh Okogie has a big wingspan. I think Isaac Okoro does as well. I'll look that up right now, but he's a younger, piece that the Hornets can build around with these, off the bench with these core guys, or maybe potentially be a starting three. But who knows? He's got a 6'8" wingspan. I think I want to say that Josh Okogie has like a 7-foot wingspan. Yeah, Josh Okogie has a 7-foot wingspan. So a little taller, a little less wingspan for Isaac Okoro. But I think some more trades will be had. I don't know if we're gonna trade Josh Okogie for Isaac Okoro. I don't know. I feel like either Cody Martin or Josh Green are gone off this roster. One of the two, and Vasa Micic will be gone at the deadline. Maybe more. I mean, I don't think Miles Bridges goes this deadline. I think he could go in the offseason, but I can't be for certain. Obviously, I don't have any sources on that. But yeah, no, well, time will tell. It's just like a wait and see, and that's just how it goes. It's Hornets basketball is weird this year because it feels like when we were trying to win, we could not win a freaking basketball game. Like I said, we went 1-18, and then we're like, okay, we went 1-18, probably time to tank. I'm not saying I want to see us lose basketball games per se, but when you lose 18 of 19 games, it's you look at it and you're like, what are we doing here? And then you get all your guys back and healthy, and then they start playing well together, and then after you lose all these games, you rattle off 4 out of 5, and you're just watching this team like, well, now what are we doing? I think the Hornets are 5 games out of the 10th seed. It's just could they make a run at a playing spot? Maybe. I mean, time will tell. They do have the one thing I will say is they do have a homestand here. This Mavericks game was the first game of that homestand. I'm just verifying. The Hornets are looks like 6 games back. Sorry, the NBA, the ESPN format's it funny, but I want to say we are currently 5 or 6 games back. We are 5.5 games back from Chicago, who we did just beat, which we'd have a tiebreaker over them right now. I have to look at this total schedule, but I'm gonna read you our next games. We are at Memphis, which Memphis is a good team. They've been on a little bit of a skid, I think, but at Memphis, and then the Hornets start their homestand after Memphis. Excuse me. Then they host Portland and New Orleans, 2 teams who, New Orleans is getting healthy, so we'll have to see. But Portland, hasn't had a very good year. So that's 2. The Lakers, who admittedly have been on a little bit of a skid themselves. We'll have to see how that goes. Then they're hosting Brooklyn. Brooklyn is actively selling all of their pieces right now and look significantly worse since trading Dennis Schroeder, and they're also missing Cam Thomas. Then you host the Clippers in Denver, who are not very, obviously very good. Like they're both solid teams, especially Denver's looked really good. The Clippers are the 5 seed. Denver's the 4 seed in the West. They've been winning pretty well. I want to say they're both on a win streak right now. The Clippers lost last night, but the Denver Nuggets are on a win streak, and the Clippers were on a win streak. So, but you lose. You have two tough games right there. Then you play Washington. Then you play Milwaukee, who you beat Milwaukee at home this year. We'll have to see on that game. Then you play San Antonio at home, and that's your homestand. Well, you could seriously go 500 in your homestand, maybe even better. And it just depends on how you play the good teams. You have to beat the bad teams if you want to compete for this. And I think that it just depends on. I don't think that they're going to be throwing these games. I think they're going to be trying to win, but it just depends on how these guys fill in. That Milwaukee game, the trade deadline is on Thursday, February 6th. So that Milwaukee game is on the 5th, and then the Spurs game is on the 7th. I imagine the Hornets make some trades around that time. So I think how they do during this homestand will determine who is traded. If they make a little bit of a run and they have some guys, they might trade the guys who aren't playing well and maybe, trade a second or two with some of these guys and try to get back a younger piece to, be good for the future and win now a little bit. I imagine they're going to mostly be selling, though. I think this is going to be a where we sell for seconds and we try to, try to get not try to get worse, but try to set yourself up for the future. I saw a great quote from Jeff Peterson, our GM, who said, "I don't want to make the playoffs once to not make it again for 5 and 6 years. It's like I want to build something sustainable here," which is what previous regimes have said, especially like Mitch Kupchak and Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan was very hands off and let Mitch Kupchak do what he wanted, but Mitch Kupchak also didn't, wasn't pushing any boundaries. I believe in Jeff Peterson and then Gabe Plotkin and Rick Schnoll a lot more. They've done more in the last year than that last ownership group and general manager did the whole time they were here, essentially. The big thing that team did was sign Gordon Hayward and then trade Kemba for Terry Rozier, who that trade ended up being a win, but at the time it wasn't viewed as a win. I think it was more luck than being good owners and good managers. So we'll have to see. But I truly believe in this ownership group, what they've done, and I Jeff Peterson is well respected in the league, and he's already been. The Hornets have some of the most draft capital like in the NBA right now. I think they have 14 second-round picks and 9 first-round picks over the next six drafts. So that's that's great. You just got to. I don't know how often I'm going to film these podcasts. I'm going to try my best to do them more often, but I'm trying to look ahead, and just in case I'm not going to be, it just. I didn't realize that Memphis was a 3 seed in the West. They've been having a really good year. They're on a win streak too, so they play the Grizzlies tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern. So that's probably good. That could be a loss. It's probably gonna be a loss. Let's be real. You gotta know this team, but you just gotta watch it. If you're watching this team, just watch LaMelo play good. Root for these young guys. Let's hopefully we get Trey Mann back before the end of the year. Let him, get some burn. It's all going to be depending on how he plays, how the team plays, if he comes back, depending on his timeline. Like if his timeline is he can come back in a week or two, which I don't think is going to be the case, but within a month, he'll probably come back regardless. But if he's like more towards, March, like maybe they'll just keep him out the rest of the year. It just depends. Which would be a bummer, but I would rather him get healthy and do that than the other way around. But yeah, no, I'm just gonna go over some stats real fast, highlight some guys. Today is just while we're talking about the team. Today is Musa Diabate's birthday, so wish him a happy birthday. If you're online, you hear this today. But yeah, Let's see. Well, LaMelo is still averaging about 30 points a game, 29.3. Brandon Miller's season is going to end with him averaging 21 points a game, which is that's good. It's cool. That's an improvement from last year. Miles Bridges is at 18.6 points per game. Let's see what his averages are. He's averaging only 31% from three. That's the issue. I just feel like Miles Bridges, he plays basketball well, don't get me wrong, but he's just so inconsistent that I don't feel like he's a future part of this team. And that's, one of those things. I want to see him not on my team anymore in the future. Maybe use some of those picks to go get a guy like Larry Market in the future, or a young guy, a young, four who's got size and can shoot. Or maybe, we trade him for a guard, like, a guard or a wing to kind of fill that 2-3 spot whenever Brendan Miller's not playing. And if we get lucky and we end up getting, Cooper Flag in the draft. But, it's way too early to know what we're doing. But, Mark Williams is the guy I really want to highlight real quick, though. I talked about him a little bit before, but he's averaging 15 points a game on 10 rebounds. Like, that's – people were calling this man horrible things online because he was out with injuries. And it's just so sad. Like, you forget how good this guy is. And you see him now, and he's just played absolutely amazingly. Like, just, 30-point game the other day, 19 rebounds in that game. He's looked just so good. And his defense could be better, obviously. Talked about that before. Just want him to be a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger. But, man, I'm so excited that he's the center of this team. And then the big part here is that, so LaMelo's you're leading you in points, and then it's Brandon, and then it's Miles, and it's Mark. The next two guys in here are Trey Mann and Grant Williams, who are averaging 14.1 and 10.4 points per game. That's 24 points you're missing off the bench. Yeah, I know that when they were playing, we were missing, Miles, Mark Williams, and we were missing some guys, and it's that's some of the points, but it's just. In theory, you're missing 24 points a game off your bench. That you're now relying on Vasa Micic and Cody Martin and Musa Abate to make up for you, because especially now, Tijon Salon was playing those kind of 4-man minutes, but he's been sent down to the G League which I think is best. We need him down there, and just he didn't have a good G League debut, didn't play very well. But like I said about Nick Smith Jr., I'd rather him go down there and play his game and get better at his game than just go get the easy stuff because you're bigger and stronger than all the guys in the G League. Like, get better at your game, learn the way to play on defense. He's obviously going to get more shots down there, but if he can just get a better feel for the game, get a better feel for offenses and defense especially, and get used to playing against professionals in America, you can do that. And then if you come up again, you may not shoot the ball at all, but you will do everything else that they need you to do. And hopefully he gets a shot back, because he was shooting like Steph Curry in the preseason. Like, oh my gosh, he was shooting amazing in the preseason and the summer league. So that's what you need. This isn't going to be a very long episode, I don't think. I just kind of talking about the last couple of weeks with the Hornets and what we expect and what we're going to see in the future. Josh Okogie, I don't know if he's going to stay on this roster, but he's 26 years old. He's still a younger guy in the league. I don't know if he's going to be flipped again. If he is flipped for Isaac Core is 23. He's about the same age as LaMelo Ball and Brandon Miller and Mark Williams, and he could fit that timeline of guys and have these guys develop together. Trey Mann's also 23. Grant Williams is 26. Miles Bridges is 26. If we keep him, our top 6 scorers this year are all under the age of 26, or 26 and younger. Like, that's all you need. Let's just get these guys. I mean, Charles Lee, he gets better at coaching every day, I feel like. His relationship with the guys, you see him on, talking to the players and everything. His relationship with the guys is great. And you see his defensive intensity. Like, LaMelo Ball is playing the best defense of his career. You see it. Not everybody's bought in, and those guys who aren't bought in, I think, will be gone off this roster. But people have complained about him, guys shooting too many threes and this and that. And yeah, I think that our roster doesn't necessarily like thrive in that type of offense, but it's a championship style offense. Like he's won championships. We just need the better roster, and I think this team is just a couple role players who can shoot and play some defense away from being a perennial all-star, a perennial playoff team in the Eastern Conference. People say LaMelo Ball isn't a winning player, doesn't win games. It's because he's got nobody around him. Everybody who takes shots is hurt now. Like other than Miles Bridges, Grant Williams, Trey Mann, and Brandon Miller. That's half of your 6 leading scorers that aren't LaMelo Ball. So I mean, 3 out of the 5 guys that aren't LaMelo are out who are taking shots. So LaMelo Ball, he's averaging like the most shot attempts since Wilt Chamberlain, like per 36. So it's tough. You want to see him, you want to see the team succeed and look their best. And, it's tough. I want to see everybody do their best and win games. And that's all you can ask for. And it's not going to be this year. They're not going to make the playoffs this year. They're not going to win anything this year. But hopefully this team is set up for the future. And I hope you guys have fun watching the Hornets play. But yeah, I'll be at a couple more games this week. If anybody tunes into this, I'll be at the Pelicans game, and I'm going to be at the Lakers game on Monday. Very excited. I mean, I'm a Hornets fan, but LeBron's my favorite player of all time. LeBron's the reason I love basketball. So I'll probably make a podcast, in about a week, hopefully. But thank you so much for listening. You guys have a great rest of your day, rest of your week, rest of your whatever, however long it takes for this podcast for me to make another one. But yeah, super exciting stuff. I know the team's winning now, so that's exciting. But you can see where the future is with this team, and if you can't see where the future is with this team, then I don't think basketball's for you, to be honest. But yeah, y'all have a great one, and check me out. I posted on my Twitter. My Twitter is @TheRealEvanHale. EVANHALE is how you spell the name. It's under Hailstorm Sports. I rebranded from the Super Hornet because I been taking writing more seriously. I'm trying to pursue a career in sports media. So I doubt anybody who is important is going to listen to this. But if you are listening to this and you are important and you like what I'm talking about and you read my articles, you like what I'm writing about, would really love if you gave me a contact. But yeah, you guys have a great one. I'll see you when I see you. Go Hornets.